Nice to see you back. In this video, we'll specifically discuss the drying, cleaning, and storing your Banneton, as well as the cloth liner. The basic idea is that you want to always be sure to fully dry your Banneton before storing away. I tend to do an overnight cold proof in my Bannetons, and the following morning when I tip out my dough to bake, I always see that the liner and Banneton have just a hint of dampness. If you store the Banneton away while still damp, mold will eventually grow on your Banneton. I have instructions in this video on how to tackle mold development, but the best thing is to help prevent this from happening in the first place. While the loaf is in the oven baking, and while you're enjoying the smells wafting from your homemade bread, it's best to move the Banneton to the back of the stovetop where it is quite warm and dry. Usually drying takes no longer than a couple hours, but it can take longer depending on your conditions. After the Banneton and liner are completely dry, use a natural bristle brush as described previously to gently brush out the excess flour from either the rattan basket or from the liner. Any remaining flour will act as a protective layer over time. Think of it as seasoning the basket. After several uses, you might wish to give your liner a good wash. Remove the liner from the Banneton and hand rinse under cool running water. Don't use hot water as it can cause the liner to shrink in size. I add just a touch of gentle laundry detergent and use my fingers to rub the liner until it is nice and soapy. Then I'll give the liner a good long rinse under the cool running water. After it is fully rinsed and no soap bubbles remain, squeeze out the excess water by hand. You'll want to allow the liner to hang dry. Just note that you'll want to recondition the liner with a bit of flour before use. After longer stretches of time, maybe every 3 months, you might want to give your rattan basket a wash as well. Additionally, you'd want to do this if you notice it starts to develop little spots of mold on the rattan surface. To wash your Banneton, you'll want to soak it briefly in cool tap water. Just water, no soap. Just submerge the Banneton fully in the water, and I tend to go for a maximum soak time of about 5 minutes. Then, using a stiff brush, gently brush out the affected areas. If you soak too long or brush too hard, it can damage the rattan surface, so be careful. Then you'll want to pop your Banneton in the oven at a low temperature, 250 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 30 to 45 minutes or until the Banneton is completely dry. This will quickly dry your Banneton and also kill off any bacteria. Remember that anytime you do an actual wash, you'll want to recondition your Banneton with a misting of water and a cup of flour as I've shown previously. Once your Bannetons are bone dry, you can stack them in a dry spot in your kitchen. I like to use the cabinets just above my wall oven for storage. In the next video, I'll demonstrate how to prepare a basic sourdough bread from scratch using my Bread Boss's Bannetons.